Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Today we are going to talk about three different topics. We'll start with the vocabulary part and learn about the descriptive adjectives. At this point, I recommend you to take your dictionaries with you in case you see any new words and you want to check them out. And then we will move on to the verb patterns. As you recall, we talked about gerunds and infinitives before, so we will revise them and do some exercises about them. And finally, we will do some reading activities. For this lesson, I need you to have your eyes open for workbook and student's book so you can do the exercises with me. Let's dive in. Now here we have the text, and before we start, I want us to read and discuss what do these words in bold stand for. At this point, you might want to pause the video and read it yourself, or you can follow with me. I have a very close friend called Masaki who lives in Japan. He is interested in photography. He has been practicing it since high school. Scenery is his favorite subject to photograph. Japan has a very colorful and stunning scenery that makes it an ideal place for photographers. Tokyo, Japan's biggest city and the capital, is a very impressive place to take pictures, says Masaki. He enjoys going to the city because it's so different from where he grew up. There is never a boring moment in Tokyo. Everyone is always on the move. There is always something to do, something to see, he says. He does admit, though, that as a boy, he found the crowds of people, the traffic, and the noise scary. But as an adult, I'm always excited to visit Tokyo, he says. He would encourage everyone to visit, whether you like big, exciting cities or small, traditional towns. There is something for everyone, says Masaki. Just come and see for yourself. It's such a peaceful place. I promise you won't be disappointed. So, all these words in bold, they actually stand for, they stand to describe adjectives, right? We call them descriptive adjectives. So what's an adjective? It's a part of speech which we use to describe the nouns. So these words here are the descriptive adjectives. Now let's open our books, page 66, and here we have the exercise. The street parties are great, but they certainly aren't quiet or calm. So this is the first part. What we are going to do is that we are going to read all these sentences, and then we are going to change these words with these adjectives. At this point, you can pause the video, do the exercise yourselves, and then you can unpause it and get the answers from me. So let's start with the first one. The street parties are great, but they certainly aren't quiet or calm. So quiet or calm, we can change these words with peaceful. I love the festivities, but the streets get so full of people, I find it a bit stressful. So full of people means crowded. It's really special with a great feeling in the stadium with all the fans cheering. The special with a great feeling means atmospheric. The costumes are so beautiful and bright, all those greens, reds, and oranges. So beautiful and bright means colorful. They look very attractive. Their costumes and makeup are amazing. So very attractive, we can use stunning. The festival is very old. People follow customs and behavior that haven't changed for a long time. So our keywords here are old, customs and behavior, and haven't changed for a long time. They all mean traditional. Then we have, I was really shocked. I didn't think a children's festival would be so frightening. So at this point, instead of frightening, we can use the word scary. And the party was great. I thought the organization was very well done. The word very well done, instead of that, we can use the word impressive. So let's move on to the other part. Now we talked about the verb patterns before, but let's remember them a little bit. As you know, when we use two verbs in one sentence, the first word indicates whether the second verb will be used in ing or in infinitive form. So there are some of the common ing and to verbs that you can see on the screen. You can pause the video and check them out in case you need to remember some of them. to open our student's book, page 67, exercise 1. Here you need to complete the sentences with the verbs from the box. But before we start, there is this gray box that can be very useful for future. First of all, we use infinitives after adjectives and after certain verbs. These rules will be very useful for the following exercises. Now let's look at the four questions. While I'm reading, you can do the exercise or you can pause the video, do them yourselves, and then we can continue together. Let's see, question number 1. Here it says it's best, blah blah, it in the dark. So what can we say for here? We can say it's best to see it in the dark. Number 2, here it says go ice swimming if you really want the cold. So what can you say for this one? You can say to feel the cold. Number 3, it says if you decide to come and see the festival for yourself, bring warm clothes. And the final one, it's great to watch them doing that. Now let's look at the second exercise on the same page. Complete the sentences using the infinitive form of the verbs in the box. Again, we have the same box here just to remind you what we are doing and just to help you learn the topic. So question number 1 is done for us. I have decided to dress up for the occasion. Number 2 says, I'd like to Tony's party this weekend. Do you want to come? So what can you say for question number 2? To go. This year I want something different for my birthday, like going ice swimming. So this one you can say to do. Number 4, I hoped some fireworks on New Year's Eve, but there weren't any. I hope to see. It's difficult a good time at a party if you don't know anyone. So it's difficult to have a good time, right? It was easy money for our more party. We washed people's cars for £5 each. So it was easy to raise money, right? And finally, question 7. The organizers want to hold a contest to find the best costume. Number 8 says it was scary to speak in front of all the people at the wedding. So these are generally how we use infinitives, especially if you look at these words like decided, I would like, want, hope, another want. These are the certain verbs, and we have some certain adjectives like difficult, easy, and scary. So I hope now we understood what we are talking about when it comes to verb patterns. And now let's improve our reading skills, shall we? Now I need you to open your books. Workbook, page 61. On page 61, we have this reading text. It says a lot, actually. But before we start, we need to pay attention to certain points. And these points will be useful for the PET exam that you will be taking at the end of the year. So when we are reading a reading text, what we need to do first is to find the keywords. And then those keywords will be very useful. So we wouldn't have to read the same text over and over again. But before we start, let's always remember to read the instructions. Read the travel website about New Year destinations. Match the cities with the pictures. Now let's look at picture number 1, and along the way we can always use the things that we just learned. Remember, we learned about descriptive adjectives, so it's better to put them into use. Number 1, it's like a very stunning image, right? We have the fireworks, a big crowd of people, and it's night probably, and this place is by the sea. So these can be helpful for future references. Picture number 2, let's see, we have again a group of people. They're generally guys, right? And they're holding torches, and they look like ancient Roman people, right? They're different in terms of their clothing, and they are wearing helmets, they're holding torches. All right. How about number 3? So in number 3, we have again a group of crowd of people. like a lot of people. And there is this thing, it looks like a statue, right? There is this girl, and she looks like she has a crown, so she kind of looks like the princess, or I don't know, the queen, maybe. Alright, let's move on to number 4. Again, it's a big street and lots of people. And in the middle of the picture, there is this platform. It looks like the place where singers go and sing and the bands go, right? Okay, so let's look at number 5. There are the girls, like they look very alike. They're wearing matching hats. And at the background, there are people actually, they're in the sea, right? And it's the daytime. So they're in the sea. Remember, we are reading a text about the new year. So this place is probably, I don't know, they're in a different continent maybe, right? They look different. And yeah, all those people there in the sea, we should pay attention to that one. It will come up later. And the last picture, let's look at the last picture. What do you see? Here we have the big ball and we have the clock and a big tower. Let's see, I mean, this place actually sounds, looks very familiar, right? If you come to think of it, the new year, the big ball, the ball dropping. I'm just giving you some ideas. So, here we have the text and it says, "Seeing in the new year. Do you dream of spending New Year's Eve somewhere exciting? Here are some suggestions of iconic places to celebrate New Year and take your pick." It is also important, if you look at your book, you will see there is an exercise about these words in bold. So they will be useful for the future. At this point, if you don't know the words, the meanings of these words, you might want to pause the video now, check them out from your dictionaries, and then come back. So, let's see. It says take your pick. We have the first part, New York City, USA. As you can remember, you need to match these pictures with these places. New York City, USA. Over 1 million people participate in celebrations all over the city, but the most famous place to see in the New Year is Times Square. The tradition began in 1904, but the ball drop started in 1907 when setting off fireworks was banned. At exactly 11:59 p.m., a large ball, illuminated with bright lights, is lowered down the side of the Times Tower building, and 60 seconds later it stops to signal the end of one year and the beginning of the next. The ball drop has become famous all over the world, and nowadays there are fireworks too. It's crowded but cold, so wear a coat, hat, and scarf. Now, at this point, you can tell me. So, picture number 4 is giving us as an example. You can tell me which one is the second one, right? It's picture 6. At this point, what I need you to do is that you need to, look at the text and you need to find the important words that can come up later and that are unique to New York, USA, right? So this is called skimming and scanning. Uh, it will be very useful for the preparation of the PET exam and all kinds of different kinds of exams. But it's always nice to get the gist of the text so that you don't have to read the text over and over again. So here we have the important words, right? New Year in Times Square. Times Square is in New York and it's very important. Then what else we have? We have this big, large ball. It's illuminated and it is lowered down, and there is a 60-second rule. And yeah, also important thing, it's crowded but cold, so wear a coat, hat, and scarf. As you can see here, we have 3 different places: New York, Rio de Janeiro, and Edinburgh. And Rio de Janeiro is usually hot in New Year's, so here wearing a coat, hat, and scarf and having the cold weather, it can be, differentiating at some point in the following questions. Let's move to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Because it's summer in Brazil, Copacabana Beach in Rio has one of the biggest New Year's Eve parties in the world. Many people wear white clothes to symbolize a new start, and some people bathe in the sea or float candles on the water. Over 2 million people stand on the shore to view the totally stunning fireworks display at midnight. Of course, there is also traditional samba music and dancing to make sure you have a good time. So, which pictures can you match with this part? Right, picture 1 and picture 3. So, here in this part, which words can be used as a keyword for feature? For example, we have one of the biggest New Year's Eve parties means there's a lot of people, and many people wear white clothes, right? Why do they wear white clothes? To symbolize a new start. And they can bathe in the sea or float candles. So you can get the idea that the weather is not very cold. So it's actually a nice weather. So over 2 million people stand on the shore. So like a lot of people, so it's very crowded. This can be useful for future and traditional samba music. It's like very unique to Rio de Janeiro, right? Amongst all these three places. So let's move on to our last part, Edinburgh, Scotland. Hogmanay is the Scottish name for New Year's Eve, a very important celebration in Scotland. Edinburgh's Hogmanay is a 3-day event which starts with a colourful torchlight procession, music, and fireworks. Then there is a Cleath, a traditional party with Scottish music and dancing, as well as a pub concert and a street party. At midnight on New Year's Eve, join 80,000 people singing the traditional New Year's song, Auld Lang Syne, based on a Scottish poem and a folk song. On New Year's Day, there is the Looney Duck, a quick swim in the freezing river, fourth in aid of charity, or you could just go down the beach to watch. So basically, which pictures can you match with the Edinburgh? You can match picture 2 and picture 5. So here, which ones are our keywords? We have 3-day event, right? The previous events, they only took 1 day or 1 night actually, but this is a 3-day event. Then colorful torchlight procession, and they have a pop concert and a street party. 80,000 people sing the traditional New Year song. And then they have the Looney Duck, a quick swim. The weather is freezing, and they are doing it in aid of charity. So this is important. These are generally the things that we need to pay attention. These can be considered as the keywords here. Now let's move on to exercise number 2. Complete the sentences with the words in bold from the text. We talked about them, we know most of them, so let's do the exercise very quickly. Cars are banned in the shopping streets of the city center in many cities. At Christmas, the trees are illuminated with hundreds of colorful bulbs. We are organizing a charity singing contest in aid of UNICEF. On New Year's Eve, my parents let us stay up until midnight to see in the new year, and you can have any of the food here, just take your pick. Finally, we have the last part. This part, it's important to remember all those keywords. Number 1 is done for us. Which celebration doesn't involve going in water? It's in New York. Which celebration lasts the longest? Edinburgh, remember, it's 3-day event. Which celebration has the most people? Rio de Janeiro, remember, lots and lots of people. Which celebration doesn't have music? New York. Which celebration involves doing something to help other people? Edinburgh, remember. Which celebration often means wearing clothes of one color? Rio de Janeiro, remember, they were wearing white. Which celebration is over 100 years old? New York. And which celebration has the most impressive fireworks? Rio de Janeiro. So these are the answers. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Here is your assignment. Eyes open for workbook, page 59. And thanks for joining in. I wish all of you to have a lovely day.